It's the holidays. So I'm going to make a holiday meal for some friends tonight, have them over. This is a Cioppino, San Francisco Cioppino. You can order this at the Fisherman's Wharf and other restaurants in San Francisco. It's a stew. I don't have all of the same ingredients that I would use if I was in California or if I was in Louisiana or Texas, but I have plenty of ingredients that will work just fine. So if you don't have these ingredients, change them out for something that you do have. It's a stew. It's like a gumbo. And these are dishes that people came up with to use whatever they had available to them. So let's go over the ingredient list. So let's go over the ingredients. There's lots of them in this soup stew. This is some white fish, in this instance corvina, Pacific sea bass, 2 pounds of shelled shrimp. I'm going to use the shells to make a stock. I'll put that on the stove. Got some red and orange bell pepper, more seafood, mussels, calamari, and crab. Now, if I was in California, I would use Dungeness crab meat. If I was in Louisiana or Texas, I'd get blue crab meat. Not available here, so I'm just going to toss in a couple of whole crabs for flavor. A stick of butter, sliced thinly. A 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. 6 cloves of garlic, thinly sliced. A 1.5 cups of white wine. Some basil, fresh basil cut, a 1/4 teaspoon of thyme, a little more than a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a full teaspoon of anise. Now, if I had fennel, I would use fennel. Then have the availability. The anise will give it a similar flavor. A pinch of cayenne pepper, and a couple of sprigs of fresh oregano and some basil leaves. If the shrimp stock is not enough, I'll use some of the seafood stock. It's a tomato-based stew. So 2 28-ounce cans of peeled tomatoes and some tomato paste. Okay, we're going to start this off. I'm going to do the base of the sauce. I'm going to start with, I forgot to add this to the ingredients, 1 large onion sliced thinly. We're going to add our extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to go ahead and add my spices, the thyme, fennel, and garlic powder. Doesn't want to come out of there. Okay, and I am going to, come on in, I'm going to break up these onions, and I'm going to fry until the onions have turned translucent. That's going to take about 6, 7, 8 minutes. So we'll come back when that's finished. We'll come back and pick it up. Okay, so we've stir-fried the onions in olive oil with some of those spices. They are translucent now. We're going to start adding some of the other ingredients. Here are the 6 garlic cloves. By the way, you can half this ingredient list. I'm making a really big one for the dinner with my friends tonight, and then I'll put a bunch of this up in the freezer so that I can eat it for the next couple of weeks. It's a lot of work to make this, and might as well stretch it out for a while for myself. So I've added the garlic. I'm going to add the basil. I'm going to add the oregano sprigs and the bay leaves. Stir this for another minute and a half to 2 minutes, and we'll come back and pick up the next phase. Okay, I am almost ready to transfer this over to my big soup pot. For me, it's a lot easier to do this in the fry pan and then transfer it rather than trying to do all of that sauteing in this deep pot. We are now going to add some tomato paste. I'm going to add about 2.5 tablespoons. Put that over there. Stir that around. I'm going to add just a pinch of cayenne. And stir. And now I'm going to transfer this over to the big soup pot, and then we'll start adding our soup ingredients. So there is our base with many spice flavors. This should be delicious. Okay, now we're going to add our peeled tomatoes. Glad for that soup pot to have such high walls to it so it didn't splatter. Stir this around. I'm going to add my white wine. I'm going to add my bell peppers. I'm going to let this simmer for another few minutes, and then I'm going to add my stock. Now I'm going to add that shrimp shell stock that I made using the shrimp shells from my fresh shrimp. You know, when you make this, boil up your shrimp shells in some water, especially this many shrimp shells from 2 pounds of shrimp, it really adds a ton of flavor. I use this when I'm making gumbos and etouffees. Now, that's not going to be enough, so I'm also going to add some of the seafood stock. I'm going to go ahead and put in the butter, which really could be done at almost any stage. And stir. Go ahead and come right in close. I'm now going to put the cover on and just let it simmer for the next, I don't know, half hour. I need a break anyway. I'm going to walk away, come back and check this a little bit later, and then we'll add our seafood, one type of seafood at a time, and really that should be done closer to when I'm going to serve it, so really a little bit later on this evening. Okay, so my soup has been simmering for quite a while. I went ahead and added the crab. We're not going to try and eat that. These things are so tiny, you'd tell you couldn't get enough meat from them. But I went ahead and put them in so that they will add a lot of flavor to this soup. I've got it on the lowest setting now. I'm going to let it just simmer there. I am actually going to add my shrimp, my calamari, my mussels, and my fish. After my guests get here, I get my friend Brian to help me with it. He can pick up the camera and do a little extra shooting for us. But really, you don't want to put this seafood in 3.5 hours before your guests show up. So there's a lot of ingredients, but once you have them together, it's pretty simple to put this together. You get it in, let it simmer. You add your seafood at the end. If I had some fresh parsley, I would chop that up and sprinkle that on top of the soup. Couldn't find any at the supermarket yesterday, and I didn't think to get it when I was at the farmer's market last Friday. At any rate, see you when we come back. So one thing I didn't mention is we're going to have some fresh bread with this soup. My friends are bringing a salad. So pretty simple, soup, salad, some fresh bread. I'll put these in the oven shortly before we're ready to eat. And I'm going to make up a dipping sauce of extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of salt, and some garlic powder. Delicious. Bedroom? Okay, so now we're going to add the seafood. Everybody's here. We're going to go in with the mussels first. The calamari, the shrimp. You do like shrimp, right, Brian?
I do.
Okay, good. So you can pick around the other stuff. And the fish, which is a corvina. It's a Pacific sea bass. And come on in, Mr. Cameraman. I'm going to stir that up. And that should be ready in about 15 or 20 minutes. Okay, Brian, you're not normally a seafood eater. How is it?
My compliments to the chef. Me
Gracias.
gusta mucho.
Y Marcela, ¿te gusta?
Mucho.
Gracias. If you like this video and others from 105-Minute Meals, please subscribe. Hit the like button and hit the bell button so that you get notifications when we come out with new videos. Pura vida from Costa Rica.